I stayed overnight in a haunted mansion. Terrifying true story before we begin. Remember, tease. Some stories don't come from imagination. They come from moments you wish you could forget. And what I'm about to tell you is the one night I wish I never lived. I stayed overnight in a mansion that people in town don't even point at.
A place buried under decades of silence, rumors, and disappearances. You think you know
Try standing in the dark hallways of a house that breathes, listening to footsteps that aren't yours.
And realizing the shadows aren't just shadows.
This is my terrifying true story, and if you're watching this on HorrorHaunted AI, you already know things are about to get creep. The night I should have never accepted, I still can't explain why I agreed to it. Maybe I wanted to prove I wasn't scared. Maybe I wanted content for my channel. Or maybe something about the mansion felt like it was calling me. People say curiosity kills the cat, but sometimes curiosity kills the soul long before the body. The Blackridge Mansion had been abandoned for 73 years. No one went near it.
The trees around it grew twisted and bent toward the structure, almost like nature itself was trying to pull away.
The locals warned me with genuine fear in their eyes.
That place remembers everyone who walks inside. You come out different. I thought they were exaggerating. Primera is it wrong?
The arrival. Something was already watching. The moment I stepped through the rusted iron gates, the temperature dropped so suddenly that goosebumps rose on my arms like thorns. The wind stopped. Every insect went silent. Even the dirt under my shoes felt wrong. The mansion stood tall against the night sky, its windows black like empty eye sockets, and its roof sagging like it had been exhaling for decades. Then I saw it. The front door slightly open, not broken, not forced, just open enough to say, "Come in." Inside, the walls groaned like the house recognized the weight of my footsteps. Dust swirled in the air like something had just moved ahead of me. My flashlight trembled in my hand and flickered like it was scared too. I wasn't alone, not even for a second. I felt eyes on me, not angry, but curious, as if the mansion had been starving for company, and I was the meal.
The first signs. The house breathed. The hallway smelled like damp wood and old secrets. The wallpaper peeled in long strips, curling like claws reaching out to grab me. Then I heard it upstairs, slow, dragging, rhythmic, like someone sliding a bare foot across old wooden planks. My breath caught in my throat. I aimed the flashlight toward the staircase, and the beam shook because I was shaking.
The creaking sound got louder, step by step.
As though something invisible was walking down carefully, deliberately, aware that I was waiting. When the sound stopped, the house inhaled, and I swear the walls expanded slightly. Like lungs, the mansion wasn't empty. It was awake, and it wanted me to know it.
The room with the locked door, the west wing, felt colder than the rest of the house. A biting cold that crawled under my skin. Every door was shattered or rotting, except one perfect door, polished so clean, it looked out of place, locked from the outside. Like something had been trapped inside. The word "stay" carved into the wood was so deep it looked like it was scratched in desperation, not written. When I touched the doorknob, it felt warm, fresh, warm, like someone had just gripped it moments before I arrived. I leaned in, held my breath. Then, a violent slam from inside shook the entire frame. Dust rained from the ceiling. I stumbled back, heart hammering louder than my footsteps. And then, a whisper, thin as paper, slipped through the crack at the bottom. Let me out. Not human, not animal, something else. I ran without thinking. The shadows that followed the dining room was enormous. Long tables stretched like a coffin, chairs placed like mourners. The plates were covered in dust, but the glasses had fresh fingerprints on them. Then one of the chairs, the one at the far end, slid back an inch. Not fast, not aggressive, more like an invitation. My flashlight flickered again, buzzing with static like it was picking up a signal. When the light blinked off, the room went silent. My breathing sounded too loud for comfort. The light blinked on again, and for a fraction of a second, I saw 4 dark figures seated around the table, heads turned toward me, waiting. The light flickered again, and they were gone. But now, all the chairs were pulled out, as if they wanted me to sit. I whispered, "Nope," and backed away slowly, because even the air felt like it wanted to hold me in place. The basement that shouldn't be entered. Basements in horror stories are predictable. You know something bad will be down there. But nothing prepared me for the feeling of dread that crawled up my legs the moment I opened that door. The smell was thick, like soil freshly turned over a grave. The stairs were impossibly steep, narrow, and old enough to collapse under the wrong step. By the 3rd step down, my ears started ringing. By the 6th, I heard breathing, not my own. Slow, wet, close. The darkness at the bottom wasn't natural darkness. It looked solid, like it had weight. Halfway down, my flashlight died permanently. I slapped it, shook it, prayed. Nothing. Then a breath brushed the back of my neck. Ice cold, whisper soft, and a woman's voice whispered, "You shouldn't have come here." I spun around so fast I nearly fell, but no one was there. Yet the basement was suddenly full. I could feel shapes, bodies, figures standing around me in the dark, watching, waiting. The house didn't want me to leave. I scrambled up the stairs, knees banging against the steps, hands slipping on the railing. At the top, the door slammed shut in my face with such force that dust exploded outward like the house was angry. I pulled the handle. Locked. From the outside, just like the polished room's door. The staircase moaned behind me, and fingers, thin and ice cold, wrapped around my ankle. I screamed, kicked with every ounce of strength I had, and felt the nails scrape my skin as the grip loosened. The lights in the hallway snapped on one by one, like someone was turning them on approaching me. The chandelier above me shook violently, glass clinking like sharp teeth, and then I saw them, a whole hallway full of shadow figures standing silent and still, heads slightly tilted, as if studying me. The house wasn't just occupied, it was hosting an audience.
The final escape without warning. The door behind me unlocked. A soft, gentle click. An invitation or a warning. I didn't care which. I tore the door open and sprinted into the cold night air. Legs burned, lungs screaming. I didn't stop running until I reached my car. Even then, my hands shook so hard I dropped the keys twice. When I looked back, every single window of the mansion was glowing faint yellow. And in the upstairs window, the room with the locked door, a pale face stared down at me, expressionless, but smiling with its eyes. I drove until my GPS lost signal. Epilogue. Something followed me home. For the next few nights, I barely slept. There were footsteps outside my bedroom door. Slow, deliberate, every night at 3:07 a.m. Whispers filled my kitchen when the lights were off. Not words, just breathy voices trying to form sentences. And then, 3 days after the mansion, I found something on my mirror. The same word carved into the door at Blackridge Mansion. Stay. But this time, the letters were deeper and dripping with moisture like they had just been written. And the worst part, I wasn't even home when it appeared.
And that is the truth about the night I survived the Blackridge Mansion. Not escaped. Survived. Because escape implies it's over. And trust me, it isn't. If you heard the whisper in your headphones, if your room suddenly felt colder, or if you felt like something was watching you midway through the story, you're not alone. That's how it starts. Hit LIKE if you want me to return to the mansion. Drop a comment if you've ever experienced something paranormal yourself, or if you think I should never go back. And if you want more real, chill encounters, subscribe to HorrorHaunted AI, where the shadows never sleep, and neither do the stories. Until the next nightmare, keep your lights on. You never know who or what shares the dark with you.